Forget the punishing gym routines and the cabinets full of expensive supplements. In hidden pockets around the globe, people are casually reaching their 100th birthdays while eating bread and drinking wine. The 2026 Health Census reveals a shift in how we understand human lifespan. Researchers have moved their focus away from DNA to study environmental engineering, specific global microclimates where long life is a byproduct of daily existence. To understand why, we look at metabolic friction. Aging is the accumulated wear from inefficient systems doing unnecessary work. Certain microclimates act as a lubricant. By wasting less energy, cells create less damage, preventing the breakdown that causes chronic disease. Living into your hundreds depends heavily on the friction of the environment you inhabit. The first of these environments are isolated island and coastal communities. Localities in the Azores and Madeira off the coast of Portugal have emerged in the 2026 data as significant longevity hotspots. Life on these islands provides distinct biological inputs. Residents breathe constant salt spray air and rely on seaweed-based diets that provide unique mineral concentrations. These environments prioritize local, nutrient-dense fuel. Because these diets lack modern processed components, they act as natural cellular protectors, lowering the systemic inflammation that drives aging. Continuous access to these anti-inflammatory fuel sources correlates with a reduction in the metabolic friction that typically signals decline in other populations. A different dynamic exists in high-altitude havens. In cities like Grenoble, France, the landscape demands constant physical exertion just to navigate a typical day. Negotiating the steep, vertical terrain acts as an involuntary, lifelong form of interval training. Residents are constantly pushing their systems as a standard part of their daily routine. This physical demand upregulates the mitochondrial protein COX-7-RP, a primary driver of lifespan extension. COX-7-RP helps mitochondria form respiratory supercomplexes. These structures allow cells to produce more energy while generating less oxidative stress, effectively slowing the aging process at a cellular level. A vertical geography acts as a structural treadmill, rewiring human cells to become hyper-efficient energy engines that resist decay. You don't need to live on an alpine peak to find these patterns. The most significant longevity hotspots are now hyperdense metropolitan areas, like Singapore. Singapore has doubled its centenarian population over the past decade. It achieved this by intentionally designing an active environment into the city's infrastructure, proving longevity can be manufactured in a modern context. A major part of this design is social shielding. While isolation and chronic stress act as biological toxins in many Western cities, Singapore's policies focus on maintaining high levels of social cohesion. Data from the Harvard Housing Studies shows a shift in how we live. Notice the massive spike in older adults sharing homes with non-relatives. These vertical villages replicate the moai, ancient tight-knit support groups, protecting individuals from the physiological effects of stress through constant connectivity. We no longer need a remote agrarian village to live a long life. These urban successes show that longevity can be designed directly into our modern infrastructure. You do not have to move to the French Alps to adopt these strategies. You can replicate the island blueprints by shifting to dirt-to-table eating. Strip highly processed inflammatory foods from your immediate environment and prioritize stable, whole food inputs. You can replicate the high-altitude havens by building involuntary movement into your day. Choose walking routes that include steep inclines and prioritize physical tasks that demand exertion. Replicate the urban anomalies by treating social connection as a scheduled requirement. These networks release hormones that mitigate the inflammation associated with stress and loneliness. The evidence from these hotspots suggests that reshaping your daily environment is a powerful tool for extending your health span. Willpower fails, but environments endure. The difference between a life of 70 years and 100 years is often the invisible architecture you build around yourself today. If you're ready to start building, subscribe for our next deep dive.